July 4th is coming up, so celebrate by staying inside to play some board games and maybe picking up some new ones from our Kickstarter Pickstarters for the week of July 1st, 2019.
Kicking things off today is Shovel Knight Dungeon Duels, which is being developed by Panda Cult Games, and this is based on the video game from Yacht Club, which is a retro, side-scrolling throwback platformer action game in which you are a shovel knight. You're killing enemies, you're digging up treasure, you use a shovel as your weapon. In this one, every player is a different colored shovel knight, and you're competing to see who is the one true shovel knight. And it mimics the mechanics of the game in some interesting ways. For example, the board is a series of tiles, and as you continue each round, a new tile is going to be added to the right side and the leftmost tile is removed. So it kind of mimics the side-scrolling nature. And if you're on that left side, you're defeated, so you have to keep moving along with it. You're able to find piles of dirt, there are tokens, you flip them over, you get treasure for them. There are spike traps, you're going to have to try to jump over those. And if you die, just like in the game, you'll respawn, but half your money will be lost. So you'll have to go back and pick it up, or another player might be able to go back and pick it up too. There are also boss battles, and those seem almost more like a Dark Souls board game style boss fight with everybody kind of working together, but you're still competing. Whenever you hit the boss, you get some money for it, so you want to be the one to do more damage to them. Some really interesting concepts at play, and it seems like it really takes the spirit of the video game to heart. If you watch the video, I mean, they show comparisons of all the mechanics side by side that really seem like almost a one-to-one adaptation in some cool ways.
So can you get some of the weird artifacts throughout the game?
Yep, there are places you can buy different cards, special artifacts, like you said, power-ups.
Great. I want to get the infinite dagger so I can keep flying off the screen, forcing it to scroll way too fast.
Let's hope that that's included and is a possibility. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Shovel Knight is a fun game if you haven't played it. This one goes for $70, which is on the pricier end. I mean, it's got some minis in there and a bunch of tiles, but we'll see if it ends up being worth it. Also, I looked, and they do have a couple variants for team-based play and a solo mode, but I didn't see anything as of now for a co-op mode, which it didn't seem like would be that hard to do because there's not really direct combat or anything, but I don't know, maybe that's just not the way the game was designed.
I mean, it's probably, if everyone's working together, it sort of takes away
too easy or something.
Yeah, you know, if you're not, like, maybe you're not directly, but like I said, I joked about scrolling, but that's probably a strategy.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is Shovel Knight, so I assume it's already funded at this point.
Probably is while you're watching it. Check it out.
Pangea is a game where you are actually players in a simulation, each taking control of a group of ancient animals trying to survive the Permian-Triassic extinction. If you don't know, this extinction is one of the worst, and where 90% of marine life died and 2/3 of land life died. We're still a little unsure about that, but the idea of the game is supposedly it's very similar to the extinction that is or currently happening now, and this is a simulation to see what's happening and if you can survive it. So you will take a group of animals, and they are different groups of ancient creatures. Some of them you may recognize because some of them were able to survive that extinction period, at least in some form of an ancestor. And you will be exploring across this large continent of Pangea, each with different zones, some better than others with terms of food and survival. But you will also need to work on your instinct. While you're fighting over territories with everyone, you'll be able to increase your own instinct bar along the sidebar, because at the beginning of the game, pretty much two coordinates and an extinction event are chosen at the end, while all the rest of the cards are lined up along the side. As you move up, you'll see more cards, knowing that they're not the place where the extinction is going to occur. And at the very end, you can see what of one of 3 extinction events will be the one that kills them. This is important because everything pretty much in the adjacent area dies, but depending on the extinction, there could be things like the outer boards are the only places where animals survive, or maybe the inner of the boards. So you'll have to try to find out as much as you can with process of elimination, and then try to make sure as many animals as you can survive when you hit the end game. The art looks amazing. It does bring up some cool old factors that not many people know. I mean, usually when you go to ancient animals, you go straight to dinosaurs. Maybe mammoths and saber-tooths. So this goes a little farther back, which I think is a little cool.
This is one, like you said, the theme is really cool. I looked at it and I thought the art looked really cool. I kind of backed off because after a few minutes I was like, this seems heavy and I'm not sure I understand this game right now. I'm not in the mindset for it, but
there's more to it because you can also get not evolution, but adaptation cards. You can like your own little deck. Each group is specialized because it makes sense that only the cephalopods can grow tentacles, not the amphibians. So stuff like that. So they are a bit more, it is a bit more asymmetrical, I would say, similar to Root. But I do love the idea that I'm curious to maybe if we get to see it at a convention to try it out. Now it is, I think, in about 10 or so days left from when we're recording or when this goes out, if I looked correctly. Still, I think plenty of time for you to take a look. The base is about $55, but take a look and see, because I'm a little confused about what pledge levels are still around and whatnot, and they have a bunch of extra stuff, including these really nice fossilized mini for your special animal that I think look really cool. So let us know if you are thinking of traveling to Pangaea.
This next game is called Soviet Kitchen Unleashed from HYBR Games, and it is a newer version of a game I think they had released last year in a smaller distribution run. This one has some upgrades to it, and it's an interesting, weird one. It takes place during the end of World War II and Soviet Russia, and the players are chefs trying to prepare food for the troops. But the things that you have available for ingredients are not necessarily ideal. Every player has different cards in their hands that represent different types of ingredients that you may or may not want to eat, and they have different colors to them, which is really what's important. The game uses an app. So while you're looking at your cards, a phone app will tell you what colors of foods you are trying to make. And for instance, maybe you need, yellow. And one person has a really dark red card and someone else has a really bright yellow card that's too bright, or they have a white food or something. And you're trying to put those cards forward. You're not allowed to show them to each other, but you can discuss them and make the right colors that match what the app is asking you for. Once you've done that, you put them into this meat grinder and it spits it out and gives you a rating. Some of the foods are also toxic, so you don't want to put too many of those in there because you might end up poisoning people, and that's also a bad thing. The game actually comes with a story mode, so you can do kind of a challenge mode, or you can play through some type of a campaign with people. It's fully cooperative, but I thought it was really neat. If it wasn't clear, the cards have chips in them. That's how you actually put them into the phone. You don't just input it. You actually hold the card over the phone, and it recognizes what type and what color it is. Not a game that, if you are colorblind, you can play. They don't have really, there's no patterns or anything. It really does rely on thinking and talking about color wheels and all that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, it's a no-go for that section, but some really innovative and weird concepts, I thought, in it. Anything with an app.
It is interesting. I just imagine people sitting around the table we really need some blue here, folks. And we're not going to get this green without some blue.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. Sort of like, at first it sounded kind of like a Hanabi style thing, but like I said, you are allowed to fully discuss everything in your hands. Anyway, check it out. It goes for $19, which isn't too bad. Soviet Kitchen Unleashed.
From Luda Creations, we have On the Underground, a game that is actually a new version, with the original game having just the London Underground, and this one now including Berlin. The way the game works is you will have an underground map of one of these two cities. There'll be a passenger on the board, then you'll draw 4 gold cards. These will either be express or local, and pretty much they determine the order in which the passenger tries to visit these stations. Now your goal is you can try to build multiple lines, similar to something like Ticket to Ride, but instead of getting points for having the lines, your goal is to have people go across these lines. You'll also get points for maybe building in certain stations, like to have food, to connect to parks. You may build a route that was really good for that first round of gold cards, but you'll have to be careful and keep an eye out because there may be new gold cards in an area you haven't built up yet. You will actually also take care of multiple colors depending on the number of players you're playing with. So it looks like there's a bit more interesting in trying to how, in real subways, one track doesn't go everywhere. The red line may only go here to here, but maybe your blue line you make sure covers the northern part or something like that. This looks like a cool game, maybe a new twist on Ticket to Ride. I haven't heard this before, but they said it was an older game.
Yeah, I looked at this one too, actually. I really liked this one. I thought it looked cool. Like you said, kind of the Ticket to Ride style, but a different sort of spin on it.
But this goes for $39. But I think there's some other cool stuff in deluxe versions too, so you can actually have different kinds of passengers. I don't know if it's just they look different or actually act differently. Like I think there's like a pregnant woman or a person in a wheelchair. I hope they have their own rules because that would be pretty cool.
Crypt X is a new puzzle game from Inside the Box Board Games. It's another one of those escape room style puzzle games where you have a series of puzzles, you're trying to put the pieces together and solve them to uncover some kind of a mystery, clues, hieroglyphs, deciphering things. This one actually does take place in an Egyptian theme. You're deciphering notes from an archaeologist. There are 51 cards in the game, and each card represents a puzzle. And you can decide whatever order you want to take them out and solve the puzzle. So if you get stuck on one, you can move to another. It also comes with some little items, some objects that you may need to use to help you solve them. It could be like a key code or all kinds of other things. You might have to look at them in different ways, move them around. Also going to be an app accompanying this game, which will give you hints if you get stuck. I don't know if it has other functionality than that, but you can download a preview version of it if you want to check it out, as well as sample a few of the puzzles that they've made just for the campaign to get an idea of what they'll be like. So it's another one of those kinds of puzzle games. As always, it comes down to, whether or not the puzzles are really good, but I like the concept. It sounds like this one has a little bit more of a story as well. So as you do the puzzles, you are uncovering some of those narrative bits too. These are the kinds of games that I've been into. They're popping up more and more, but I'm not tired of them. I like those puzzles. If you want to explore Crypt X, you can do so. It's $27. This also is from the same people who have done some other games on Kickstarter, including Subterra, which I know you have. So they've got a track record, so you can go look at it now.
Lurking in the shadows from Black Cat Gaming is The Spy Game. This is a game based on the 5th edition rules where you take on the role of spies. Each, of course, with different kinds of roles, just like in D&D. You can be more of a technician. There's one that's more about infiltration and changing your face, staying in the shadows. Lots of different classes. All interesting. You can whether be play as the hero agencies or maybe you do a villain agencies. That's pretty much it. It's the RPG with a lot of cool spy stuff, really big information, context of like weapons too, different classes and abilities.
I've been enjoying a bunch of smaller indie RPGs. Not personally, but just enjoying that they exist on Kickstarter. There was one I mentioned a few months ago that was a mystery solving one as well. So yeah, it's cool to have the different themes, kind of spy related.
This one does seem a bit bigger though than for most of your indies. Yeah. I feel like your indies usually are like $5 for like the PDF.
Sometimes. Yeah.
This is $19 for the digital with $44 for the physical book. So a bit more than what some of the other RPGs we see, but I think it's because they're just bigger and more stuff in there. Mm-hmm. So if you want to open these classified documents, check it out now.
Those were all our picks for the week. You could also find our preview for the game Empty Space, which we uploaded last week. That's also on Kickstarter right now. There were also a couple of other ones that I saw that I thought were interesting. People are probably going to be talking about, but I didn't pick. I don't know if you saw them. One is Democker, which is a new edition of what is apparently the first game that was ever added to Board Game Geek, which was about German politics, which looked intriguing, but it was another one that I was like, I don't understand anything that's happening in this game. The other one was, I can't remember the name of it now, but it was a gladiatorial combat game from Mythic Games. You can put up a picture, but they do a lot of cool things, and it looked at a lot of minis and stuff like that. So I'm sure people are going to be looking at that.
I did see the German board game one, and I decided, I guess I just was like, and it just was the one I cut off out of my 3 I usually pick.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of cool ones there. Always fun to have some RPGs in there, as well as a big copyright title being Shovel Knight.
Lots of stuff for you to chew on. Let us know. What are you backing? Which ones did you see? Which ones did we forget? Talk to us in the comments section right down there. Also in our description, if you want, you can find links to our social media, our website, find everything we're doing all over the place. We'd like to have you with us, etc. Thanks for watching. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this has been Roll for Crit, Kickstarter, Pickstarter.
Catch the latest from Roll for Crit by liking and subscribing and supporting us on Patreon.
You're not a hidden traitor, are you? Come on, like us.